Welcome to Framework Fortune and welcome back Framework Fortune community. I'm your host Ben and my co-host H&H Trader is not here tonight as his computer dates back to the Stone Age. But it's time for your Monday through Friday episode of The Last Rip, where we take a look at some of the top low float gainers on the day, recap any trades we took, and look for any trades for tomorrow. So time is our most valuable asset. Let's not waste any of it. The SPY broke for a new high today, but the SPY did not break and hold above this channel. It closed right in the channel top there. So we still could very well see a pullback. Tomorrow being Friday, last trading day of the month, expect pretty low volume tomorrow in the markets. Me personally, I am going to be extremely cautious tomorrow, because at the current moment, I'm about break even on the week after the rough start on Monday and Tuesday, and I don't want to give back any of my gains, but if I can try to lock in some quick profits tomorrow to turn green on the week, I will try. But like I said, I'm going to be very cautious. Monday is the start of a new trading month, and we'll see hype and volume come back in on Monday, so there's no reason to force anything tomorrow. So the day's top gainer, Xbio. In this one, I've been alerting and saying to keep an eye out for a possible break over $4 with this daily pattern that it's had. And it did break out. Broke out a little bit later in the day. Climbed from 3 this morning all the way almost into power hour before it finally broke 4. And you can see in after hours we're up to 620. So I didn't catch any of this. But if you did catch this, great job making those nice profits, because this was a pretty good chart pattern on the daily chart. Next we got Ntec. Now I did trade this, but I took some trades early on, so I didn't have a lot of funds left. All I could afford was 5 shares. I saw the initial rip. It pulled back down, started making a little indecision candle here right at the 10-day moving average. And I hopped in there at 11.77. I figured with 5 shares, it's holding above the purple 40 DMA line. And if it could hold up, it would try to rip again. And it ended up making a nice little triangle right here. And you can see it just broke up out of that triangle and just went on a nasty run. This thing was super low float, only 1.8 million shares outstanding. And it shot all the way up to 1780. I held it for a minute to see if this following candle here was going to turn bullish. And it did not drop down, so I had a stop loss right under 16, got stopped out about 15.85. So that was a $20 win, even on that little bit of 5 shares. But very nice move on Ntec, no news on it, just had a good daily chart pattern. It was above all EMAs, and that's why I have not been trading any stocks under the EMAs on the daily chart, because we are in a choppy market, and more than likely, stocks under the EMAs on the daily are not going to break out very big, if any at all. If they're above the EMAs, they have a lot better chance, a lot better probability, because that means they're bullish. And a lot of these that are above right now don't have a lot of resistance ahead of them. Naov was making a nice move this morning in pre-market. It's still actually on a trend line here. So this could be one to keep an eye on for tomorrow for another possible pop. It shows it's only 24 million in float, but this thing doesn't move extremely fast. This candle right here in pre-market this morning was the biggest candle this has had through this trend line, and that was $2 up to around $2.50. But broke out pre-market, and anytime you see a breakout happen right here before the bell like this, you more than likely do not want to jump in at the bell. I would say 9 times out of 10 when you have this happen, you'll get a fake out push at market open, but then you're going to dump off. And of course, you can see it held up right there at 250 on the 40 and 10. Bounced back up and bounced off it again. Bounced back up to 3. Got rejected at 3 and just slammed down from there. But it is still holding this trend line in after hours, still above all indicators. So keep it on watch for a possible another move up. We are going to have some serious resistance at 3, and then after 3, 350. You can see a lot of congestion back here. This is MKTW market-wise. Looks like they just IPO'd on July 22nd. Have been on a pretty much straight-up uptrend, making a move up to 14 today. I would kind of expect to pull back tomorrow, but this is above all EMAs. and only 51 million shares outstanding. It made this pop today with only 500,000 in volume. So if it does get big volume, it could rip dollars just like Ntec did today. Maybe one to keep on watch. On the NYSE, the top gainer we got is Lending Club, LC. They had a big gap up on some good earnings, gapping up from 16.35 to 24, and then just went sideways. Market open, broke up to 25.70, and that was it. So it is above all EMAs now, but there could be a little pullback. This is nothing that I really trade. 100 million shares outstanding. If you like a mid cap, this one could be one to keep on watch. COCP was actually the first trade I took on the day. Was watching this in pre-market. It had a big pop up and went sideways, and then had made this little U shape, and I waited at market open for it to open, so it dropped down, made an indecision candle, and then started getting followed by a bullish green candle. So I jumped in there, held it up to the top of this trend line, looking for it to try to break 150. I could have locked out $30 in profit there, but I really thought we were going to break that 150, and it just didn't. Pre-market high was at 152. It just got held up there, and then it dumped. So, of course, I had to jump out there when it started dumping. 10 adaptive crossing over the purple, out right there. $15 loss. Now, they did have PR. It was some PR about their treatment or whatever for COVID. Well, we're seeing a lot of nonsense PR, and I think that's what this probably was, because it sold completely off by the end of day and after hours, giving back all of its gains. So, nothing on this. VXRT is another trade I took. This is a pharmaceutical company. They had some PR, something about their oral vaccine or something. Had a big gap up in pre-market from 8.30 up to 9.39. I let it open up, saw it was dumping. We made an indecision. I hopped in there on this candle at the break of $9, and then we got an indecision right there, where it got held up in pre-market and it just started dumping. So see the cross of the 10 over the purple, and I'm out right there. A little $10 loss. SGLB was another trade. This was Sigma Labs, but they had no PR. Just started getting volume. Had a big pop at market open. I missed the initial pop, so I let it come back down. And this was quite a drop, giving back most of these gains after this nice run. And it was on a nice little uptrend. So I got in on this candle on this wick at 406 as it was pushing back up, and then had to get stopped out on the next candle because we had an indecision and then a red candle following. So it looked like after it dropped, it held the 40 DMA. So I jumped back again after two little green candles and this candle holding up, but then it just dumped on the next candle. Had to get out there. So two losses on that, $31 all together today. Losing about 50, but making that 20 on Ntec. So I'm down 30, and that's pretty much what I'm down on the entire week after the big wins yesterday. So it's not been a great week for me, but it's not been a bad week. Just down $30, and that's why I'm looking to at least try to make $100 tomorrow to see if I can end the week positive after the nice week we had last week. But I also don't want to risk very much to do that. So I'm still holding BTBT, and BTBT had a nice little pop this morning, crossing back over the EMAs with the 10 adaptive and running from 762 up to 941. Bitcoin was getting a little action at that time, but Bitcoin's been going sideways the rest of the day, so has BTBT. So I'm still holding my swing on this. 25 shares at $6.99, looking for Bitcoin to break out. Now, Bitcoin, I just covered it on the Framework Fortune Crypto channel, is in a triangle and is going to either break up out of that triangle and break through 40,000 within the next 24 hours, or it is going to break down out of that triangle and have a drop down probably back to 35, maybe even 30. This is highly dependent on what Bitcoin does tonight. I could be waking up tomorrow and this be down quite a bit, but average is $6.99. It's at 8, so 25 of them up $1. I'm up $25 on it. FLGC, my 10 shares that I held from the nice win that I took yesterday, it did pop up to 11 in pre-market, but then just kind of sold off the rest of the day, which is not surprising after it had this big rip, but we are above all EMAs, and this only pulled back halfway, so it held 50% of its gains and held $7. This is going to be on watch tomorrow for me because I think this could bounce off a 7 and try to push back up to that 10, depending on the volume tomorrow. SPRT is one we've been keeping on watch all week because of this pattern. It did have a pullback after the rejection yesterday. Looks like it may consolidate. I wouldn't expect a run tomorrow out of this, but if it breaks $9 tomorrow, we could see it up to 10, and then break a 10, it's got a lot of room to run. So I think SPRT is one to still keep on watch tomorrow and maybe in the next week, depending on what it does tomorrow. We'll see how Friday opens, but I am expecting it to be pretty quiet, pretty slow. Could be the total opposite. Who knows? Maybe traders are going to get pre-hyped for the new month. If you haven't yet and you want to stay up to date with a lot of this stuff, make sure that you subscribe to the Framework Fortune channel. If you like trading cryptos or you're into crypto investing as well, we have the Framework Fortune crypto channel, and we now have frameworkfortune.com, where we're building a community of traders and investors, of individuals all sharing their insights, info sharing. We've got lessons on there. We've got a nice forum that we're building out continuously. We've got exclusive footage that's not going to be posted on YouTube. All kinds of good stuff. A blog. Check it out. See what you think. Let me know in the comments what you think about frameworkfortune.com. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Stay safe out there. Until next time.